Hi everyone, Matthew here at AAWeatherWatch with our special holiday weekend weather summary and forecast, taking a look at the next few days, St Patrick's Day and through into the weekend, Saturday 18th and Sunday the 19th of March. Now, as was indicated within the midweek forecast yesterday, the weather is set to become unsettled across many areas of the country in the coming days, unfortunately, as low pressure returns after what has been quite a pleasant and relatively benign period of weather over the last few days at least. Satellite imagery shows a band of cloud moving southeastwards across the country today at the moment in time. This is in association with a relatively weak weather front. It is bringing some locally heavy showers across parts of the north and west, but this weather system with shower outbreaks of rain will move southeastwards through the rest of the day, and then following on behind will be colder conditions, but there perhaps will be some drier and sunnier weather towards the middle and latter half of the afternoon before sunset. However, we look into the North Atlantic and there is a large mass of cloud here in association with a developing area of low pressure, and this is set to bring wet and windy weather across many areas through St Patrick's Day and through into the weekend. This also signals the onset again of some particularly unsettled weather over the next 3, 4 or even 5 days into next week as well. So let's take a quick look at latest rainfall radar just to highlight these showery outbreaks of rain moving southeastwards, again in association with a weather front. Again, particularly across some northern areas, Ulster and parts of Connaught, seeing some locally heavy bursts of rain, but otherwise the weather front is particularly fragmented and there is quite a lot of dry weather further south and east as well. And as I've indicated, this weather front, a cold front, will continue to quickly move southeastwards through the rest of the day, allowing for some drier and sunnier conditions to spread in from the west and northwest through the afternoon and into the evening. But as the name implies, a cold front, and as was indicated yesterday in the midweek forecast, following on behind will be some colder conditions, and it will turn quickly quite chilly this evening. So let's move on and take a look at the forecast weather charts now to put the details onto the forecast through the next few days. So we move into Thursday evening and overnight into Friday, and it will be quite chilly this evening for a time on Thursday evening, before it then turns increasingly unsettled overnight and through into the start of St Patrick's Day. Now, clearly the weather chart for Friday, not particularly pleasant, not particularly pretty either. A series of weather systems, this type of weather pattern where one area of low pressure is followed by another, is known as a frontal wave, and of which will move eastwards across the country through the course of the day to essentially bring a wet and windy day across many areas. Northern and western areas of the country likely to see the most persistent and heaviest rain, with some increasingly large rainfall totals here, whereas the further south and southeast you are, then there will potentially be some drier interludes at times, but overall it really will be a particularly wet and windy day across many areas of the country. The close proximity of the black lines, these isobars, indicating again a windy day, a fresh or strong westerly wind across many areas. So we move into the start of the weekend, and generally the weather remains unsettled. There's some uncertainties over the details, but through into Saturday and further outbreaks of rain and showers are expected quite widely across many areas, but particularly across some northern and western areas. Once again, the further south and southeast you are, then there may well be some temporary drier intervals through the course of the day, but otherwise, again, another relatively cloudy day is expected across many areas, with further outbreaks of rain and showers at times. And we move through into Sunday the 19th, and generally at the morning time, again, some uncertainties over the details, but overall, Sunday could well be the best day out of the next 2 or 3 days. Yes, a weather front will move southeastwards through the course perhaps of Sunday morning. This weather front here bringing some showery outbreaks of rain during the course of Sunday morning, but then through the course of Sunday afternoon, as this weather system clears, conditions may well then become drier and brighter through Sunday afternoon, and it is Sunday afternoon that may well produce some of the best conditions of the weekend overall. But looking even into next week, clearly details aside at this range, but low pressure at the moment at least is set to return on Monday, bringing some longer spells of rain, and unfortunately as we get into Tuesday we may even see a return to some particularly cold weather for the middle and latter half of March, as cold northwesterly winds are potentially set to develop to bring a mixture of sunshine and showers, and yes, would you believe it, some of these showers may actually begin to turn wintry towards Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So we're certainly not done with winter-like weather anytime soon. So let's take a look at the temperatures now over the next couple of days. Temperatures through the rest of Thursday generally falling from the northwest behind this weather front. Temperatures highest across parts of the south and southeast at the moment in time, but as I progress through the afternoon into the evening, you can see those temperatures quickly drop away by the time we get to the end of the afternoon, just 4, 5 or 6 degrees, and then through into the overnight period potentially just 2 or 3 degrees across some southern and eastern areas. Temperatures through the course of Friday, probably in the region around about 7 to 10 degrees Celsius, so not far from average, but clearly, given the wet and windy weather, it will still feel quite cold overall. Through into Saturday, Friday night into Saturday, temperatures not falling very far at all, lows around about 8, 9 or 10 degrees, and then through into Saturday, if anything, temperatures a little bit higher than compared with Friday, perhaps reaching 11 or 12 degrees, but again, still, especially in a wet and windy weather, then it will feel quite disappointingly cool overall. And we end the holiday weekend, temperatures on Saturday night through into Sunday still not falling very far, another mild night, so little in the way of any frost this weekend, and temperatures on Sunday very similar, generally around about average now for the time of year, somewhere in the region around about 9 or 11 degrees. But just quickly jumping ahead through into next week, just to highlight that drop in temperature by the time we get to Tuesday, as you can see, highs no higher than around about 5 to 8 degrees, and through on Tuesday night and into Wednesday of next week, again, clearly don't take these values as certainty as just yet. Clearly there is still time for change, but as you can see, minimum temperatures next Tuesday into Wednesday widely at, if not below freezing across central and northern areas, as we keep a close eye on this potential return for some quite cold and wintry weather through next week. So let's take a look at the forecast for the weekend now, through into our holiday weather summary. And St Patrick's Day, very unsettled with wet and windy weather moving eastwards through the course of the day, particularly across northern and western areas. The heaviest rain will be, with some increasingly large rainfall totals too. Through into Saturday, and further wet and windy weather certainly possible, perhaps especially across more northern areas of the country especially, but potentially at times drier further south. Still quite cool, particularly in the wind and rain. Through into Sunday, remaining unsettled, rain and showers at the moment in time at least, moving southeastwards through the morning, but then through the course of Sunday afternoon generally becoming drier and brighter through towards the end of the holiday weekend. So that's all the details for the next few days. As ever, I'll be back with you early next week taking a look at next week's weather. So thanks for tuning in and have a great weekend.